Alright folks, it's officially week 12 of the National Football League. The Raiders are now 5-6. They defeated the Broncos 21-14 at home in a game where the Raiders had a pretty substantial lead. They were up 21-0, then Paxton Lynch got hurt, and then Trevor Siemian came in. They made it a nail-biter all the way until the end when Patterson reeled in that third down pitch and pretty much put the dagger through the heart of the Broncos into their comeback attempt. And now the Raiders march forward. One game behind 500, but even more remarkably, one game behind the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to sound odd, I know, but there's a likelihood that next week the Raiders could be the #1 team in the AFC West. It could happen. So December, without question, going to be a very, very, very crazy 31 days. From start to finish, it's going to be exciting. So let's hang around for there. We were dead in the water a couple of weeks back, but my, how things have changed. Alright, so a few quick observations about this game. Obviously, probably the big news from the beginning of the game, you had Michael Crabtree and you had Aqib Talib get into a fight. He went for the chain early, and next thing you know, he had an ultimate fight over in the end zone. You had a bench clearing brawl. You had referees getting knocked down. You had Gabe Jackson getting kicked out of the game because he shoved a referee. You got Michael Crabtree throwing like left crosses at Aqib, and he's still wearing his helmet. And that dude, that's a hard dude right there. If you're throwing punches at a dude wearing a helmet, I mean, you don't mess with that guy. So they both get kicked out of the game. So the Raiders go in there early on without probably their most productive or best overall receiver. And then, you know, of course, Amari Cooper gets concussed later on in the game. Still don't know about what's going on with him. I'm recording this video on Monday. So, I mean, obviously we'll know his medical status closer towards the weekend. But that's a pretty scary moment. He got out. So, for the most part, the Raiders had to work without Cooper or Crabtree in the lineup. So, of course, they go up 21-0 against probably the best overall defense in the National Football League. I can't explain it. It just happens that way. I mean, I know we do have a new defensive coordinator, but I just think it's the fact that the Broncos are in free fall mode and Paxton Lynch is not ready for prime time, and the Raiders just got an easy win here and was basically a glorified exhibition game. But you'll take a win when you take a win. So a couple of things I liked about this one. I really like the fact that they're relying on the run game here to set up the pass. I mean, last year it was just bomb it, go long, make it an NFL blitz game. Here we're kind of seeing what the Raiders did in the first 2 weeks of the 2017 season when they went 2-0. How they beat Tennessee and the Jets. A very steady, consistent run game, set up the run, set up the pass, and we're seeing the Raiders more reliant upon that. Todd Downing still have some concerns about him, but I like the play calling on this one. I think this is a much better way for the team to run the operations. If the Raiders are going to make the playoffs and win the AFC West, it's going to be using this strategy where you just give the ball to Marshawn and you punch it down, you wear out the defense. You're really not getting 200, carries, not 200 carries, but 200 yards a game. But you're eating up the clock, you're controlling the tempo, and then you're setting up the third down pass, and Kari's automatic. So look at the stats here. A lot of discrepancies here. Believe it or not, probably the best defensive showing the Raiders have had all year. They held Denver to 160 yards passing, and pretty much all of those came in the form from Trevor Siemian, who started like late in the third. Meanwhile, Derek Carr, 2 touchdown passes, 253 yards, no interceptions. The Raiders finally got their first interception of the year with that Navarro Bowman. He caught on his back like a turtle. We'll take it. That's on an end zone shot there. Even better. Make that even more interesting. As far as rushing the ball, kind of crazy. Paxton Lynch was the best rusher for Denver. I mean, Oakland just shut these guys down. Differential 104 running yards for Oakland, 59 for Denver. Who would have expected that going into the game? Marshawn Lynch, 67 yards, 1 touchdown on 26 carries. Doesn't sound like a lot, but he's just controlling the tempo of the game. He's just going up there, running up the gut, chewing up the clock, and that's keeping the Raiders in the playoff hunt. I mean, that's carrying us this far. He's really coming to his own last couple of games. Definitely our most valuable player at this point in the season. All right, defensively, let's take a look at the receiving stats. Cordell Patterson, of course, our hero of the day, had that huge run of the 54-yarder at the on third down with a minute left in the game, or 2 minutes left. Johnny Holton had another big pickup, 47-yard reception. Marshawn Lynch had a pretty big run too. He got 26 yards on one catch and pitch. And of course, Amari Cooper, he had a touchdown, but he's only in the game. That's actually his only reception in the game was a touchdown. Huh? It's weird. So we'll see about him. Jalen Richard, DeAndre Washington, not a whole lot going on. Not a whole lot to say about Denver. Denver defense, Navarro Bowman got the one interception for the Raiders. Yeah, not a lot to say about defense either. I mean, they played very well. I would have preferred had it been like a 21-0 like shutout or a 24-3 blowout. But you know what? We'll take a 21-14 victory when we can get it. So no reason to complain there. All right, so the Raiders are not out of the water. Next week we've got a pretty what should be on paper a pretty easy one. You'll see here. Let's take a look at the scoreboard here. I'm just going to slide it across. They're hosting the Giants. The Giants have already been eliminated from playoff considerations. They're not really playing for anything except pride, and they don't really have a lot of that anymore, to be honest with you. So the Raiders, on paper, should win that one. Of course, the other divisional games not looking good for us because the Chargers are, in fact, playing Cleveland. So the Chargers, that's pretty much an automatic win. Whereas the Chiefs will be playing the Jets. And, there's no reason for the Chiefs to lose that one. If they lose that one, holy hell, they are just an absolute dumpster fire of a team heading in the final stretch. So I expect, and Denver's playing Denver can probably win that game too. So I expect all the teams in the AFC West to win next week. So that doesn't really change the stats at all. Still going to be Kansas City #1. Still going to be Chargers 2, Raiders 3rd. But crazy things can happen. So status should remain quo. Or the quo should remain static, I suppose, for at least one more week on paper. So Raiders, I expect them to hit 500 next week, and then we've got some very, very interesting games coming up. But I'll take a win over the Broncos any way we can get them. Raiders walk away 21-14. Pretty good showing overall. We got to see what's happening with Cooper. That's what's going to happen with Crabtree. He might get suspended, might not. It's too early to tell. But just for the time being, Raiders finally looking optimistic. The defense is going. Offense looking better. We have the tempo with the run game. And, we got what should be some gimme games in the schedule. It's going to be, if absolutely nothing else, really, really exciting down the stretch. And you never know. Seemed like last week playoffs were impossible, but now, hey, anything can happen. It's December.